If you train solo, go to the gym consistently, you are pushing and pushing, but you can't seem to move forward. The progress just stops. That is a plateau. And honestly, most people hit it at some point. But here's the thing. I found a method that completely changed how I train, and I still use it today every single session. The results are still there every single time, and I want to share this to you guys. This method is applied for whether you are a beginner or have been training for a while, so let me break it down for you. First, you need to understand that training movements are split into two categories: compound movements and isolation movements. Compound movements are multiple joints exercises. That means two or more joints are moving, which means two or more muscle groups are involved. Because you have got multiple muscles working together, you physically cannot direct 100% of the effort into just your primary target muscle. Some of that work gets shared with your assisting muscles. And isolation movements, on the other hand, are single joint exercises. Only one joint moves, which means you are pretty much working on one muscle group directly. Let me use chest training as an example, specifically the bench press. When you bench press, your chest is the primary muscle, but your tricep and your front delts, they are assisting muscles. And this is the problem. A lot of people love bench pressing, love doing compound movements, but they finish their session and their chest barely feel anything. No pump, no burn, no soreness the next day, but they hit failure during the sets. And here's why. Your assisting muscles, your tricep, your front delts, they fatigue first. They give out before your chest has even properly stimulated. So your chest never actually get the stimulus it needs to grow. That's why it makes most people frustrated. You show up, you work hard, but the muscle you were supposed to train got left behind. So here's the method. It is called pre-exhaustion. The idea is simple. You fatigue your primary target muscle first with an isolation exercise before you move into your compound movements. Let's use chest as an example again. Instead of jumping straight into bench press, you start with the cable fly or pack that flies. You pre-exhaust the chest. By the time you get to bench press, your chest is already tired. So now when you are pressing, your chest and your assisting muscle are working from a much closer starting point. The gap between them is closed. Your chest finally gets the full stimulus it needs. And here's the bonus. Especially if you train alone, you don't need to push massive weights to get there, because your chest is already pre-fatigued. Even a moderate weight on the bench press is going to feel heavy and productive. You don't need to go near your max to get real results, and that means way less injury risk. And here are two reasons why pre-exhaustion works beyond just fatigue the muscle. First is better mind-muscle connection. This is great for people who just begin their training journey, because the problem most beginners in the gym face is they do the motion but feel nothing. And isolation is a good hack to get the feeling of the muscle. When you pump blood into the target muscle first, you are essentially signaling your brain, hey, this is what we are working today. Your neural activation improves, and you will feel every rep more clearly in the right place. Second is reduce injury risk, because you are not going straight into heavy compound movements on a cold muscle. You can think of it like this. If a tendon is frozen, one hit and it will shatter. But once it thaws out, it becomes incredibly resilient. So here is how to apply this across different muscle groups. This is not all the exercise. They are just my favorite pre-exhaustion exercise. So for chest, start with cable flies or pack that flies, then move to bench press or any pressing movements. For back, start with straight arm pull downs to pump blood into the back, and then move to the cable rows. For legs, start with leg extensions or leg curls, then move to squats or leg press. For shoulders, start with lateral raise and then move to shoulder press. The key principle is the same every time. Isolation first, compound second, not the other way around. Now, when you are doing your isolation work, the weight does not need to be heavy. In fact, I'd say it shouldn't be heavy. This is not about moving the weight. This is about quality stimulus. Here is exactly what I do for chest day. 15 reps, 4 sets of pack that flies, 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down, slow and control. Remember, keep the tension throughout the whole set, which means never go back to the starting position until you reach to the last rep. And I promise you, even a lightweight will burn like crazy by the time you reach to the last rep. Keep the primary muscles stay under tension throughout the whole set. After those 4 sets, go into a compound movement. You will immediately feel the difference. Your chest is already activated, already pumped, and you won't need to chase heavy number to get a real workout. Look, if your goal is to look good, build proportional muscle, and minimize the chance of getting injury, chasing heavy weights every single session is not always the answer. Pre-exhaustion is genuinely one of the best tools for solo trainers. You don't always have a spotter. You can't always push to your max. But with this method, you can still train hard and actually feel the muscles you are supposed to train are working every single time. So yeah, especially if you are training solo, give pre-exhaustion a try. I think you will surprised at how much of a difference it makes. I hope this helped, and I will see you in the next one.